Quick disclaimer, unlike my other guides, this isn't one wacky build, but an overall guide for Necro and its elite specializations. Please enjoy.
Wow.
Damn, son, you just hit with the wow effect.
No one has ever done that! No one has ever done that in the history of Dota!
Get your ass back here!
Endless trash!
Necromancers, or Necros for short, are one of the most flexible classes in game. While they lack true healing options, they are a top-tier support, DPS, and a strong tank simply due to the pure ease of use and utility the class offers. Necromancers have a few specializations. Curses help you inflict debilitating diseases and ailments on people. Spite helps you slap people a lot harder. Blood magic is full of overpowered support traits, but it doesn't increase DPS, so only supports and tanks take it. Death magic helps you make Bone Doggos and Fred more powerful, and Soul Reaping helps you go into your Super Saiyan form better and more often. Scepter and Staff are your condition damage weapons, Axe is your power damage weapon, Dagger is good for Shroud regeneration and general support thing, Offhand Focus is good for boon removal and Shroud generation, and Warhorn is what you take in your offhand when you do not need boon removal and Shroud generation. Super quick side note I forgot to mention, if you're playing a condition damage class, Viper is a great set of gear to start out with. As always, I encourage experimentation. There are builds that use other sets of gear, but Viper is by far one of the easiest to PvE with. If you're doing a power build, Berserkers is amazing. And the real reason I'm doing this edit into the guide is, unlike most healers, heal Scourges use Marshal's gear usually, or a combination of Marshal's and Shaman's gear. Because they don't really care about boon duration. They don't really put too many useful boons on people. They do give might, but healing power and damage is more important. Now onto baseline effective playstyles. Example builds will pop up on the screen when mentioned. Core Necro can either be Patient Zero to some of the silliest condition damage builds using Plague, Signet, and Curses, decent but very lacking support compared to Scourge, or an unkillable abomination of a monstrosity that can tank hilarious, if not borderline frustrating amounts of damage while dropping tons of crowd control. Scourge is the easiest class in the game next to Firebrand. You make Sandy Boys instead of having a Shroud, hit buttons, and win. Don't worry about a rotation unless you're in it for optimal DPS. You can clear literally all content in the game by just spamming things off cooldown. The only exception to this is if you bring Epidemic. There are certain fights you don't want to scorched earth everything in a 20-foot radius, like Slothosaur, so keep mind of that. Scourge can fill a DPS role for condition damage, as their Sandy Boys just spew conditions all over the place depending on how fast you spam your skills. Keep in mind as a Scourge, your Sandy Boy skills come from you, as well as them, as you are the sandiest boy of all. Scourge can also be a support and by far the funniest one in the game, as you don't heal but just keep picking people up off the ground using transfusion. As a Scourge, you can use a torch, take it if you're a DPS, or need a hard CC. Reaper is a man's man class, and all true alpha chads pick this over Scourge. Instead of a normal shroud, you get a melee shroud that makes you want to put heavy metal on every time you use it. While still easy-ish, it requires a lot more common sense and game knowledge to play a Reaper over a Scourge. If you mess up your rotation as a Scourge, you do DPS and barely anything changes. If you mess up your rotation as a Reaper, you get to warm the floor until you respawn or get picked up. Reapers are amazing for power DPS and have wide cleaving attacks and quite possibly do the best Beyblade imitation out of any class in the entire game. Reapers are also great for condition damage if you really want to give a middle finger to your Scourge overlords. Reapers actually have a very fun minion-based build that uses their shout Rise and Death Magic's Death Nova. As a Reaper, you get a great sword, great for AoE fights, but acts as more reliable against single targets. Skills you should know as a Necro no matter what you play. I will go over these super fast, but here are your core cheesing tools. Blood is power. Bleed a dude, bleed yourself, get mad and give everyone a ton of might. Great for support and condition DPS. Epidemic. Literally trivializes any fight with adds. It gives all conditions one guy has to all his friends. Summon Fred. Fred is a good boy and will repeatedly headbutt your enemies into submission. High DPS minion, good to fill a slot. Signet of Undeath. In fights where things don't die, this lets you use Shroud. Also can pick people off the floor by taking a chunk of your health. Spectral Grasp. It's a force pull. It does force pull things. I mean, I should also mention Spectral Armor and Walk are amazing tanking tools, so check them out too. All of the wells, especially Well of Power, incredibly underrated. It gives you a stun break, AoE boom conversion, AoE might, best kept Necro secret. Elite skills, if you're a power DPS, you will usually take Flesh Golem. If you are Condi, you will usually take Plague Lands. Scourge's ult gives AoE might, so if you want to take a DPS loss in PvE in exchange for AoE might and more consistent break bar things, take that. And that's really all there is to Necro. It's a very easy class. Harbinger is coming out with End of Dragons, but at the moment it looks like a watered-down Scourge with a gun and a substance abuse problem. So unless they rework and rebalance that class, that's pretty much it. That's the end of this video, and as always, if you appreciate my work, please volunteer at your local public library. Also, quick end note here. That poll I did, Chicken Nugget ended up winning over Engineer. I'm so sorry to all the Engineer mains out there. I'll cover you soon. I have a very fun build I'm making for it, but maybe you should respec into Chicken Nugget for the time being.